Welcome GRD132 to EX2, our font comparisons exercise. We typically wouldn't need a video to do this. If we were in the classroom, we could just do this in the classroom. But because we're online, I'm going to guide you through what to do here. And I'm going to give you a couple of options to turn it in too, because I don't know if everybody has Word, but at least between Word and Google Docs, you should be able to do this. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to Coursework in My Warren and go down to Unit 4. And you'll see this exercise here. Now, some of these links are active. You can also go inside here and still see this information, but there's also a file to download. So I'll give you a couple options here. The one thing that everybody's going to do is you're going to click on this Gravit shared link. Just click on this, and that's what you're going to use to observe. So it should open up. You have to be logged in, I believe, to be able to look at it, but it's just shared. You don't even have to save it. There's not a reason to save it unless you just want to save it to your 132 folder in here. You could save it into your account if you want to because I'm sharing it, or you could just open it up and look at it. And remember, I'm sharing it as a developer, so you could use Command or Control Plus to zoom in, because in some cases you may want to zoom into this stuff. You probably don't even need this over here, so you could probably turn this off, the inspector, to see things a little better. Actually, that's the layers panel, which you probably don't need. You might need the inspector because I think I asked you about the fonts. So this is kind of your viewable area. You're not going to have to do any editing here, so don't worry about any editing. You're just going to be viewing here. So you're going to just be observing these 4 fonts that are here. And then also, if you go back to your assignments, there's a Word file. I just put this in Word, and you could just download this. Now, I think if I click on it, it might open in here. You could download it, open it, whatever you want to do. I think if I click on it, it opens in Word, or you may download it. I have Word here, so it just opens up in Word. But it's just a Word file, and it's just 15 questions. Keep in mind, it's 2 pages, so make sure you go to the second page. And I set this up so that you can just click here and put your answer here. Now, some of this, they're short answers. Some of this, you're going to write a bunch of stuff here. So this is 40 points. So this isn't just a quick little 10-point discussion forum kind of thing. This is kind of, look at it as an exam, I guess. So it's a lot of observation here between these letters. So this is a Word file to work on. So you could work here and, list the names of the fonts here. I'll just put some stuff here just like I'm doing it. So let's say this is what you did, and then you saved it. Let's say you went through all of this and you went back to Gravit and you answered all the questions. You went here and you saw, oh, that's old standard TT. That's that font. So you answered all these questions in Word. You filled them all out. You saved it. And you could just do save as, and I'll just save this as whatever. Maybe I'll put my name on it just so I have my name on it. I'll just put Homa R at the end. I'll just save it to my desktop for the time being. So then you'd have it saved. That's one option. And then when you're done, you're going to go back to here. Let's say you did all that. You're going to add a comment. And then to upload a Word file, you can just go here to this insert file. Like they used to call it source. It's called insert file, not an image or not a link. You're just going to go here and insert the file, and then in here just look for upload, and I'm going to go to desktop, and there's the one I just saved, but I'll just show you how to do that. So I'm uploading and then I'm inserting, and that's how you could turn it in. That's one way to turn it in when you're all done. That's one option. Now, if you don't have Word, another option is going here. I have a shared Google Docs file. Well, actually, another option is after you download that, you can upload it. Another option would be to download this, and this time I'll download it by doing save link as, and I'll save this to my desktop again, or I guess I'll just put it in my downloads. I'll just put it in my downloads, and I'll just download it. Now, it'll get a 1 after it or something. I'll replace it. Okay, now it opened up again. I don't want this thing open, so let me close these things. Let's say you just download it and you don't have Word, although most people probably have Word. And I go here and it's in my downloads, and there it is. Now, what you could do is you could go to Google Docs. Now, I don't have Google Docs open yet, but another thing you can do, that's one way. You could drag that up to Google Docs. You can also use this link here. I shared a Google Docs file. It's another way to do it. You could go here to Google Docs, and that's probably easier, and then just say open with Google Docs. Or you could also take the file that you just downloaded, drag it into your Google Drive, and work on it that way. Either way, you're going to want to work on it here, and if you're working on it as a doc action, so you could say save as Google Docs, that's fine. And you could even go here and put your name on here, something like that, as you're working, whatever you want to do. Got it. And do your same work here. That way you could work on Google Docs and you could put all your answers in here. You could spend hours and hours working through here. And then when you're done, what you could do is you could go to share and make sure, they're even giving you some reminders here, but when it says get link, make sure you change this to anyone with link. Make sure it's green, because if you don't do that, I'll get some message saying I need your permission. So just make sure you do that. And then you can copy the link after you're done. And then you can go back to coursework and you can add a comment. Now that's assuming you're not doing this. I'm doing both just to show you. But you could go here and add a second comment. Now I'm just making a second comment just to demonstrate. Now if you're sharing a link, you're not uploading a file. You're just going here and inserting a link. And then you could just paste the link in there. I always recommend changing this to new window. It's just easier because then it doesn't take me out of my Warren. So always change that to new window. Make sure you have the link here, just like when you're sharing a Gravit link, and hit save, and you're done. So I pretty much did everything you need to do except actually doing the assignment. The assignment is actually going through here and doing all the work in here and turning this in. So you're answering all these questions here about this stuff. So you're answering 15 questions. Some of it's a little more detailed, so it's not just real quick answers. So it's meant to be an assignment that you take some time with. It's not meant to be something you do in 5 minutes. It might take you like a half hour or something like that. It should take you half an hour. You should observe things very closely here. So that's what you're going to be doing for this exercise. Again, it's actually worth 40 points, so take your time with it. Don't just rush through it. This is kind of putting in everything we've learned about anatomy so far and your observation skills and putting that into practice. So that's what you're going to try to do here as far as comparing fonts. And again, you might say, well, why do I have to know the differences between these fonts? I worked as a designer for years and I always had to do this. I always had to identify fonts for logos that people didn't have. I had to recreate logos and use fonts. It's always good to identify what fonts are here, and it's always good to identify all the subtle differences between the fonts. These are all very similar fonts. They're from the same category, but they're different, and they have all differences that you're going to describe in your Word file or in your Google Docs file. So whether you do it with Google Docs, whether you do it with Word, you're going to turn that in, either upload the file or just share a Google Docs file. If you have any problems, let me know, but hopefully that should give you as many options as you need to do that. You're just typing stuff, so as long as you get me the information, that's all that really matters. So that's EX2 font comparisons. You don't have to save this. This isn't anything you need, so when you're done, you could just X out of it. Unless you want to save it, you could save it to your cloud just to have it safe there for anything else. For if you ever have to go back to it, then you don't have to click on the link. But that's our EX2, so hopefully this video helps you navigate through that just a little bit better.